really quick. I hate having to wait till I go live to adjust it, but I've been like doing streams where I'm actually on camera, so my tripod was moved and all kinds of good stuff. I'm hoping that I can get this stable for y'all. And it doesn't look like it wants to do it. Like, I try my best to do it before I start the stream, but it, like, I don't know. It never kind of does its magic with me. Like, I don't like, I'm weird about angles. Hopefully that looks okay. And so I apologize. I have not done the individual sign readings or anything like that lately, as of yet. It's just been a hectic, chaotic September so far already. You know, what else is news, right? Get this candle lit. And, you know, see, I can't even get that done right. And it just feels like, you know, I'm kind of drowning in obligations and all kinds of other stuff, and, you know, trying to keep things in order, like even stuff that's not even mine to keep in order, I'm trying to keep in order, because unfortunately for me, like, this is just me bantering, but unfortunately for me, I'm like everybody's mom, and I'm getting really like frustrated by this. And it's just not, it's not making for a happy tarot lady. And when I'm not in the right frame of mind, I won't read, because I don't want my readings to get like, you know, like, I don't want weird energy in my readings. Like, can you blame me? So you'll like often hear me go like, yeah, no reading today, and it'll be set up for one, and I'm like, yeah, that's not happening because somebody's pissed me off today. Hey everyone, hi Lost for Words, hey Inky Kyle. Okay, so this was supposed to have been done yesterday, possibly even the day before, but I didn't do it because, you know, stuff. But this is the full moon reading for the month of September for the harvest moon. And as you guys know, the details for scheduling a personal reading is going to be in the description box below. Also, some detailed information about what a harvest moon is, you know, which planets this correlates with, and the energies that come thereof. So there's congratulations and thank you for being here, Lori. So there's just like a whole bunch of interesting read in the description box below. But even if you don't care to read any of that, like, the readings in and of themselves are usually kind of fun and pretty good. So we're going to use a couple of decks today. I'm going to grab one more, a clarifier deck. As you guys have seen in other videos, I am very much one of those people that likes to use multiple decks. I like to get, I don't like to put anything out there and leave it as a subjective note. I try to dig as deep as I can to get as much clarity in the information that's provided as absolutely possible, but also keeping it a little bit vast, because as stated, you know, these readings are general and for the collective. They may not resonate with everybody. You can also check with your moon and rising signs, and your Venus placements if you're more interested in like that love component. You know, you can kind of check your natal chart and see where the planetary alignments align with you, and then your all signs readings become a lot more pertinent, a lot more stronger. So with all that being said, the scheduling personal readings is only done with the email address in the description box below. There is no other way that you can schedule any type of reading with me at all, whether that's a personal appearance, a personal reading, or anything like that. You can only get it done in the description with the email address in the description box below. If you reach out to me on Twitter or Instagram, Facebook, any of those other social medias, of course I will respond to you, but I will not schedule you there. All right. The other thing that has come to light is the idea of payment on your readings, okay? You have to put your payment down in order to lock in your scheduled reading, okay, for the date and time that you choose. If you need to reschedule it, you're able to reschedule it one time. All right, I can't keep like moving and moving and moving and moving and taking prime times away from other people that want to schedule. My scheduling is really chaotic. I have a lot of readings, so that's why I allow for one rescheduling. After that, if it's a fault of mine, I will refund you, but if it's a fault of yours, I consider it a retainer for the date and time, and you didn't fulfill on that obligation, so retainers aren't refundable. Deposits are, retainers are not. So I run a very lucrative business that is, registered and everything. So I know how to run it. I've been doing it for years. Don't try telling me that you're going to do this, then that, and the other to me. It's not going to work. People have tried it. It doesn't work. I have lawyers and stuff like that. I don't play. Okay. So just with that being said, right? Because I've had some confusion with some stuff, and I'm like, no, I was very clear with you. I also will not chase you down for your reading. I am not going to come and start, ringing your phone or anything like that, going, hey, are you coming to your reading? If you schedule with me, you come to me. All right, that's bottom line. I'm not, I'm, you know, I'll provide the service, but I'm not a babysitter. I'm nobody's. I am a mom, but I'm not anybody that I schedule readings with's mother. So that is just how I roll. So if there's something that you need to reschedule or anything like that, you need to come to me to do that. I'm not going to reach out to you and say, hey, I've rescheduled you. Or anything like that. If it's a fault of mine, like I had an obligation come up or anything like that, an emergency or something, then I will let you know, hey, it's on me. We're going to reschedule this. So that's, I think, all the information regarding that for the week. The individual sign readings will be coming up really soon. Thank you for being so patient with me at this time. Like, I'm still adjusting to things with the family and stuff like that after having like my dad pass and then my brother pass like shortly after. So it's been, it's been a rough month in my households. And as you guys know, I handle like I take care of my mom, I take care of my other brother and stuff like that in addition to my own household. So it gets chaotic. It can get a little much. And then I try to do the YouTube stuff for fun. And if it ever comes like, where it's a drain, I just don't touch it. I just don't do it. I have to take care of my mental health too. I can't serve you guys if I can't serve myself, right? So yeah, it does add its challenges, and I know you understand that yourself, Lori, from what you've had to go through in just the last year and everything. It does add up. You keep going. You definitely keep going, but you do have to take breaks sometimes to breathe, and sometimes things hit harder on other days than they do on others. And that's just how I felt. Like, I get in my head sometimes, like I'll think about things. And working as a funeral director, as my day profession, when I incur a loss, I always kind of backseat it, and then it kind of, like the emotions of it, will take a backseat because I'm serving other people so much that I've grown to not show emotion. And then when it does happen, it's like I want to lock myself away for 2 days. So but that's kind of what goes on in the world of Jen sometimes. Hi, Jax. Hi, Fluff. All right. So this was spur of the moment, and I rescheduled this like 4 times. So we're doing it today. We're doing it right now. This is what's happening right now. All right. So we got 3 decks. We'll start off with this one. We'll clarify it with this one. We'll close it off with this one. Sound good? All right. I'm not expecting too many people to be in here today, because, I kind of rescheduled it so dang many times. People are like, did she actually go live? Oh, well. It's rewatchable, so put that deck away. All right. And I just go down the line from Aries to Pisces. So we're starting off with our Aries. And this is just a simple new moon or full moon reading. I used to do like the new moon, first quarter, second quarter, full moon, third quarter, fourth. And now I'm like, we're just going to do it based off of, take it as it comes. That's what happens when things get chaotic with me. I'm like, yeah, those other readings are very in-depth. And they're I think last time it was a little hard for some people to follow it, so I'll just keep it simple. All right, Aries, let's see what messages we got for you. And I celebrate my lineage and honor my ancestors. Okay. So this could very well be a time for you that you're, you know, as stated, celebrating your lineage and honoring your ancestors, especially if you're into um, any type of like folk magics or anything like that, or maybe you're just somebody who celebrates the gay traditions or the Gaelic traditions, and you honor like Mabon and things like that, and the transitionings of the wheel and stuff like that. So maybe this is a time period where you're celebrating that. This can also be a time period where you are just diving deep into your ancestry and stuff like that, and going off of who you are, really getting into those deep roots of things and finding out more about yourself. And people can do that by not even looking up their ancestral line. They can literally do that by looking up their culture and their nuances and things like that, and figuring out just more about themselves and loving those components, because we definitely don't do enough of that. Yes, the solstice is definitely coming. I can't wait. I'm one of those people that's over with summer. All right, so you're being cautious right now with that full in reverse. You're not kind of doing the come what may, but you are going forward. You're just like, no, I'm going to be a little bit more coyful. You're kind of taking some steps back and looking and observing. So as you're celebrating and honoring things, you're doing it in a stance of like, I have nothing to prove, nowhere to really be, but in this moment. I don't have to be anything for anyone. And you're also trying to make up decisions about who you want to be going forward. This is probably why you're looking into celebrating your ancestry and cultural nuances and who you are, and really getting into that stock in your life. Because, there comes a point where we want to know who we are. We want to know what we are and go with that, because the world is so superficial and freaking fake anymore. And there's so many people that are so clotted with um they're so full of, I do follow the wheel of the year holidays, not concretely. I can't say that I do like follow them, like dare I say religiously, but I'm not as hardcore about it. I do honor the traditions, I will say that. So like with Mabon coming up and stuff like that, I'm excited about that one because I love the transition from, the previous equinox to the current and stuff like that. I really enjoy the fall. So as I was saying, this might be a time where you're, really doing that dig deep dive so you can decide who you are innately inside of you. And in a world with people so full of, I'm going to call it like it is. You guys know I'm real. Like, I'm not one of those tarot readers that's going to be like, oh, moonlight and roses and unicorn farts and fairy dust. No. Um, if you don't know who the hell you are, how the fuck are you going to judge someone else? And it takes a lot of shadow work to get real with yourself. Trust me. If you went through life with that silver spoon, you probably have no clue who the hell you are, because you never had to do anything for yourself. So I'm sorry when we sit there and we tell people, when we sit there and we tell people like, oh, I'm going to pass judgment over you. All right. Like somebody's going to pop open their phone and go live, and they're going to pass judgment on somebody, something, somehow. Right. They're going to do that. And yet they're sitting at mommy's house. They don't pay their own fucking bills, but they're going to pass judgment. It's because these people have no idea who the hell they are. They haven't existed yet. They've been nurtured their whole life. How the hell? Like, you've never done shit for yourself. How are you judging anybody? But you see it all the time, don't you? I know I do. So there comes a point where the shadow work comes into play, the deep dive comes into play, and you have to truly figure out, like, who am I as a component to this universal energy, a component to this world, component to, if you have faith, how are you a component to that faith? You know, are you following your religion? Are you just following it for clout? Are you following it because that's who you are? You know, are you following your culture because that's who you are? Are you following it because that's what you've been told? You know, looking up the ancestry, honoring things, honoring who you are as your stock and root, that that enriches your soil so for which you can grow. If you don't know who the fuck you are, don't expect to know shit about anybody else. And trust me, I ain't gonna listen to a damn word you say. I'll laugh about it, but I ain't gonna listen to it and give it any value. And nor should anybody else. If they don't know you, they don't know a damn thing about you, don't listen to them. Give me a break. I let go of the anxieties of others. And just as I said, you know, listening to other people talk about who you are, let go of it, because those are outward manifestations of inward inadequacies. And if you listen to those, guess what? You're going to fuck up your whole shit. So don't do that. Know who you are, dig deep, spend time with, you know, older members of your family. Remember, like those ones that remember times before the internet and instant gratification nation. Those people, they know a thing or two about a thing or two. Listen to them. Stop listening to. I mean, don't even listen to me. You know, but you know, because I'm part of this instant gratification nation. I'm on YouTube. Like, question even what I say. If it makes sense, take what makes sense. Leave the rest of the bullshit and go forward. But do so in your shoes. Make sense? I hope it does. I hope those messages came through for you, Aries. And we'll see what happens on your new moon reading, huh? All right. So next up, I have Taurus. Exactly. Do you follow it because it's you? Or is it part of your actual journey in this world? And people, you know what I hate, Lori, is when people don't even know the difference. They get to a point they have no clue. They just have no clue. And I'm not saying I've got every clue, because trust me, I'm still flying around on this floating rock just like the rest of y'all trying to figure out my shit. Trust me, I wouldn't have as much damn stress if I knew what the hell I was doing half the time. So, if I was, you know, good for gander and goose, I would be in a lot better position with a lot of stuff. But I'm just here like the rest of y'all, trying to make sense, trying to find my way, trying to be where my spiritual path takes me, trying to be where, you know, I need to be, where the universe needed me to be. That's where I'm trying to get to, and that's about it. I ain't worried too much about nobody else. All right, so Taurus. Hi, what is that? Fard? Hopefully I said that right. I'm sorry if I said your name wrong, but blessings to you as well. Hi, Rupai. Hopefully I said your name correctly as well. Blessings to you too. Yep, gotta navigate our path. All right, so for Taurus, for the sign of Taurus, I have for you, I unleash my wildness and choose to be free. Well, gosh darn it, ain't that a lot of fun stuff to do? I love when you can let go of chains of self-persecution. When we listen to outward voices to manifest an inward concept, we're going to be faulty every time. We're going to have cracks that we can't fill. We're going to be something else than what we should be. Everything that exists in your world is a tool. Every single thing. If you have too many tools, get rid of some. Because that's carrying too much weight for something you're not going to use. But everything that exists for you is a tool towards your greatest manifestation, towards your greatest path working. All right? And if you can help somebody along the way, great. But not everybody wants to be helped, or they're not ready to be helped. And that's okay too. Maybe it's just not their time. You know, I mean, I go and I help and feed the homeless and stuff like that. But I also sit and I talk with them and I try to enrich them. I've read cards for them. I've helped them ascend on a path of working for something that's better for them. You know, if they're not happy with being homeless or begging, you know, there's opportunities. And, you know, I've always been the type that will give anybody space in my world that needs it. This is Taurus. And that's how I see, you know, becoming freer. Becoming freer is not by always letting go. It's also by gaining in something else. Letting go of weight, but gaining in ascension. So when you can balance those, when you can say, I no longer need this earthly concept or possession or theory. I have reached a point where I understand and I know better. You know, that is the whole walk with God right there, right? You know, is to know that there is something better than what our ego has polluted us with. Because I don't care what book you open of faith, there isn't a single one that I've encountered out there, other than a specific darker Bible, right? That says to judge others, all right? That says to persecute others. Even in the Satanic Bible, it's, you know, they are not, you know, devil worshippers per se, but they literally believe that they are their own God. And therefore, they can pass their judgments, okay? And that's why I say a darker Bible. I cast no judgments. If you follow that faith, that's good on you. Just harm none, and we're awesome. But in most other religional based faith texts, it'll tell you judging another, putting, you know, casting judgment on another is to blindside yourself from your own ascension. And what people don't realize is these books, these faith driven books, are written by kings, for kings, and about kings. They are meant to be taught to us. They are not meant for our minuscule egos to dissect and recreate based off of our own narrative. And I see that's what happens a lot. So when we unleash ourselves, it is to become one with the the idea of where you are supposed to be, to literally drop all that other stuff, you know. And I'm not saying drop your faith, that's not what I mean. I'm saying drop the egos of others, drop the misconceptions from others, drop the things that do not serve you, even though everything serves you. And I'll be the first person to tell you that. Don't you love when somebody's like, oh, get rid of it, it doesn't serve you? Everything serves you. I'm sorry, sir, madam. It serves you. What it serves you is the idea of knowing boundaries, resistance. Just because it's not a positive does not mean it's a full negative. That's our misconception. So if I sit there and say, hey, I want you to work every day, all day long for $1, you're like, no, 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 I don't, that's too less. That's too, no, I don't work for that. All right, that's a boundary, right? But you have that boundary because you probably have been overworked before. You've learned your sense of worth, right? Something served you. It always serves you. So that's what I'm seeing with you becoming freer, is releasing all these pent up regressional ideologies on what is to be of you. So you have the Ten of Pentacles right here to clarify that. Enriching your life. You know, some people would call this the happy, you know, happy spouse, happy house card. Because you see the children, you see the dogs, you see everything, the elders, all of that, and a happy couple communicating. It's a very enriched life. And it being a 10, it's a completion number. Pentacles being your earth signs, which is monetary type things, which is tangible energy. Cups in reverse, letting go of concept, is what I'm seeing from this Ten of Cups. Usually Ten of Cups in the upright is like complete emotional fulfillment. And yet we're not completely fulfilled. Why? Because we're holding on to something. All right? We're holding on to a conception of something, that you need to be something in order to be what you want. All right? And with that Empress card, she's abundant. She's pregnant. She's mother. She's, you know, maybe somebody said in order for you to be a complete person, you need to be married. You need to have children. And you're freeing yourself from that, because the worst thing you can be, if you've gone through severe trauma and abuse that you have not healed from, is passing it on to another generation. So maybe children may not be the happiness that you need. Maybe that's not the healing that you need. Because I can tell you right now, there were times where I was like, was I really truly ready to be a mom when I became a mom, because of the trauma that I had endured? You know, we make mistakes daily as parents. I don't care who you are. You're not perfect. Babies didn't come with instruction manuals, and nor did we when we were born. So we walked through this life by the mistake of our parents and past generations and things like that. And we're just trying not to make those mistakes. And the next generation is going to try to not make our mistakes. You see what I'm getting at? So it takes a bold person and severe strength to say, maybe I just don't want to walk that staircase. Maybe I just don't want to carry on something that I myself have not healed from. So if that's the case for you, Taurus, or maybe it's just a conception of this, maybe it's somebody telling you like this needs to occur in your life in order for you to have fulfillment and happiness, and you're like, no, it's not. I think I know better. go with that. Go with your path, because your path is not going to be everyone else's path. All right. And especially with, some cultures where we feel that we have to fulfill ourselves based off of religious context and cultural context. And that's not always true. I accept renewal and delight in fresh starts. So perhaps you're creating your own new systematics within yourself that you can deliver to future generations. Maybe now is not the time for you to have children, but perhaps in the future it may be. Or perhaps you're going to be a wonderful aunt or a wonderful uncle that is going to pass yourself on through them versus your own children. You're creating new things, and in freeing yourself from what had weighed you down before, you get new starts automatically. Isn't that the law of attraction right there? If I believe it, so shall it be. That's kind of how that works. Alrighty, Taurus. Hopefully those messages have come through. It was a delight to be able to provide them to you. But we are going to go ahead and move on to Gemini. Well, thank you so much, Lori. It's a pleasure having you here, sis. All right, Gemini. My community is supportive, loving, and active in the world. That is a cherishable thing to have, is a good, strong community. And when I say community, that doesn't mean always 10, 15, 100, 1,000 people. A community could be 3 badass mofos that know how to get shit done together. All right? You could have 3 people and take over the world. Trust me. All right? I've seen it. I've seen people with just a small group be able to just tackle everything, but they're all, under the same ideologies. They have the same passions and strength. They have that understanding of what brotherhood, sisterhood, familyhood is. All right. They get it. They get the mistakes. They get the achievements. They understand it. They understand the importance of sometimes taking space and not talking to one another, regrouping, but always carrying forth the love and community for one another. We are forgetting these things as the times turn. We are forgetting what community is, and we think we know. Trust me, I've seen it. I've seen it on like a lot of social media where people think that they've got a community where it's just really a bunch of assholes trying to control stuff. It's more of a dictatorship. And I sit there and I'm like, you really think I'm going to listen to you about what you think when you don't even know? It's hilarious what the sense of community is anymore. It's, I mean, you know what I mean? Like, I think, people misconceive community with people who just have common interests, which can be community too, but it's not quite the community that I think this card is trying to represent. That communal bonding and things like that is a, it's something that takes time. You're not going to find it one night and, and the next day, like, oh, we're the ultimate compadres, it's, I've seen people try it. It doesn't work. People trauma bond. They hate bond. They, those are just like, if you were to get into a relationship because you were both broken people, and you hear this, don't you? You hear it everywhere where they're like, oh, we're both 2 imperfect people making a perfect relationship. That is a lie, okay? I'm sorry. 2 imperfect people who are working on themselves in order to be good people for each other, that can work. But 2 people who are just accepting of, each other's bullshit, and they're just going to keep carrying on and fighting and bickering and being miserable and calling it love. Communities do the same thing. All right, so what I've got here is the Ten of Swords. So, you know what? You've beaten yourself down for so many others, whether it's been for work or in past relationships, things like that. You've grown impatient. And it's interesting that you have, my community is supportive, loving, and active in this world, yet you do not use your community. Because right here with this 3 of Pentacles in reverse, this is a group working together in reverse, quite the opposite. Or you're not seeing your community for what it is. You're wanting it to fit a narrative, perhaps, that it is not in alignment with. Maybe you're kind of hoping for something that this community doesn't stand for to be accepted. And that doesn't work. I mean, just, you can have the opinion. You can express it. You can even, try to entertain and teach your community about it. That does not mean, as far as a sense of community, they accept it as a whole. They can accept it from you, though. They can't accept your desire for it. They can accept, but they're going to wait for you to learn about it. They're going to see how it folds out. They're not going to invite it in as law just because you found it yesterday. Things have to manifest. They have to take their time. All right. And sometimes you got to allow that to happen. That's how those pyramid schemes work, right? One person talks to the other and says, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. You're going to make millions just sitting on your ass. But you work under me, who works under this, who works under that. And he's driving a Mercedes-Benz because he's sitting on his ass, because he's got 900 other people working for free under him, because he's pocketing your money. So that's why we don't rush to the great idea. We don't rush to pyramid schemes, right? That's why strong communities, will sit there and say, if it's going to happen, if it works, we'll walk you through it if you wish to invest in it. But we as a whole are not going to, whether it's a lie or a story or any of that stuff. All right. And have you do it on a live on my channel? Yeah, absolutely. Just go ahead and email me. We'll get that set up, Lori. For sure. All right. I am curious about my true nature. I seek to understand myself. And that makes sense here. That makes a lot of sense here. Because in order to be a part of a community, you have to know, like I said in the beginning, you have to know your component in it. You have to know who you are in order to enrich something, right? If you're lacking, guess what you're going to be? You're going to be more parasitical than you are going to be beneficial. So in order to know you, you come in with the understanding. You come in with the understanding of who you are. But you have to let your community know, hey, I may not have done everything right. I may not know what the hell I'm doing, but I'm here and I wish to be a part of this. And sometimes it is literally that simple. But you're going to have to be open to them to teach you. You're going to have to be open for their interpretations of things, their perceptions of things, and you all work together to find a greater understanding. All right? You kind of just learn to accept. And intolerance is not something that makes for a community. Boundaries are a part of things, but intolerance is different. Intolerance is literally just somebody saying no right off the bat, or disregarding it. And intolerance with hatred attached to it is even worse. So there can be boundaries of intolerance where you're like, no, we will not stand for somebody lying, stealing, cheating, murder, all that. But to have an intolerance against an idea, to have an intolerance against something, that needs to be explained. That needs to be, so that person will understand why that concept or that issue or whatever is not going to be acceptable. It's like when you're rearing children, you tell them no and they still look at you, and guess what they do? They wait till you turn your back and then they go and touch the thing that gives them the owie, right? And then you're like, didn't I tell you? And they're like, you just told me no, you didn't tell me why. And how they found out the why was they hurt themselves, right? Now everybody's frustrated. So sometimes we have to take time, explain it, make sure that they know. And even still, sometimes people make mistakes. We're humans. We've got these flesh suits on. We're just running around causing problems in the world. It's like I said in one of my other readings. All the planets and all of the solar system, all of the universe, we pick the one where we have to work a shitty 40-hour-a-week job. We pick the one where egos take center stage versus intelligence and knowledge and understanding. We pick the one where humans can be their own living gods and think that they can control the masses, and in some instances they've been able to. That's the planet we chose. And it's hilarious. All right, if you think about it in those larger scale terms, gosh, we are so minuscule in the grand scheme, aren't we? And that's why I sit here and I tell everybody, you're not making it out of here alive. I don't know why you're taking shit so serious. Just do good things and then have a good time. Don't sit there and think that you need $90,000 vehicles to be somebody. You're somebody because you're here. You're something because you're here. You know, you ain't got shit to prove to no one. What the hell are you doing trying to prove to all these freaking people that, you know, you're something? You don't gotta prove that. Just do things that make your life happy. And you know what? You'll find people love you for it. Love you stronger, love you harder, and guess what? They're certainly going to love you more authentically. All right, Cancer. Messages for Cancer. Get one more shuffle in. Here we go. And I free myself from critical thoughts towards my body and my worth. And I think that one probably doesn't need much more wording to go with it. Critical thoughts towards your body and your worth. Like, we just got through saying that. Like, why listen to other people on their shit about what is good enough, or what makes for beauty, what makes for perfection, what makes for anything? You know? Like, why are we listening to that? Like, have you thought about it? Because there's that there's a singer that she made a song called Victoria's Secret, and you know, she's like, it's some, you know, I know what Victoria's Secret is. It's some guy in Idaho or Ohio or whatever the hell, wherever the heck he is, you know, where he's telling women, you know, you got to be this, you know, to be a fashion model, you got to weigh 100 pounds, you got to be 900 feet tall, you got to have a certain tone of skin, you have to have blonde, flowy hair, and that's beautiful. No, that is a stressed out body that doesn't enjoy shit. That's what that is. Because trust me, when I did modeling and I was starving myself, I wasn't happy. There wasn't an ounce of me that was happy, but oh, you're so beautiful. Yeah, well, when you're pursuing the ego's mindset of beauty, you feel so ugly inside because you're willing to destroy yourself. You're willing to put yourself in the hospital damn near for the ideology that you're beautiful to some people that haven't seen beauty a day in their life, apparently, because I can go outside my house right now and see a beautiful butterfly. And I promise you, that butterfly eats when it's hungry and it flies when it needs to, and it gets shit done the way it has to, and it has no concept of, you know, anything else. And it's beautiful. Why can't we all be butterflies, right? Well, we can. We just have to stop polluting our thoughts. We have to stop polluting our mind. We have to free ourselves. We have to free ourselves, and we have to understand that worth is not the same as value. Because somebody says this is what you're worth does not mean that you give them the key to set your value. Okay, don't put yourself on the clearance rack because somebody said that's where you belong. And be like, nope, I belong in the showroom. It's not my fault. You can't afford me. And then you'll have people say, well, I don't want to buy you. And be like, I wouldn't sell myself to you if you could. You can always combat somebody's stupidity. And that's all that shit is. You got the Temperance card, the Star card, and the Five of Swords. All right, here we go. Like, you're at a point where you're like, I'm tired. I am tired of waiting to love myself because somebody else said I had no value. I'm tired of living a life that's meant for somebody else, something else. It's not mine. And that's all you've ever wished for with this Star card right here. But you're also, with the Star card, it's showing you're manifesting that. You are definitely freeing yourself. You're no longer feeling robbed by people. You're no longer feeling like you superficially are winning battles that aren't even there. You know, it's, I'm skinny and beautiful, but at what cost? I've dieted, I've exercised, but at what cost? What have I done to myself? Like, I haven't eaten a carb in 9 years, you know, and I haven't, you know, drank an ounce of anything delicious in 12 years, but I'm skinny and my body is going to shut down on me, and I have a list of health problems that I don't talk about because they're not pretty problems, right? So freeing yourself from that, realizing that stretch marks are gorgeous, realizing that, you know what, every woman has facial hair in places they don't want to have facial hair. Everybody has, you know, dimples and dents and stuff like that in their body that they've, you know, they've earned those. They're part of showing that you're a human being. And what's ugly about being a human? You know, it's not on our exterior. I'm going to tell you that much. That's an interior problem. Love yourself for what you got. Love yourself for who you are, because I promise you this much. I know some people out there that are damn happy souls, and they are the most beautiful things you'll ever encounter, just by living so happy in their heart and being good people, being helpful, and spreading something that's worthy, that's got stock in this world. Those are great people, and you love being around them, you know. So let's go ahead and close this one off. I accept and create more flow and pleasure in my life. Of course you will. When you stop listening to dumbasses, of course you're going to create more flow. You're going to have more happier, good times, because it's amazing how you realize how imprisoned you become when you take a step out of it. When you realize how restricted you've made yourself when you no longer restrict yourself. Doesn't that make sense? Like, when you realize how horrible something is when you're without it. All right? That's why some people are like, dude, I feel so good trying not to participate in this rat race anymore. And it's like, yeah, well, told you not to do it. But, yeah, you don't realize that you're chasing what? You're chasing trying to cover up something, trying to defend yourself, trying to, all these things that are just superfluous. Don't do it. All right, Leo. Leo's up. Leo, Leo, Leo. Well, hello, Matt, brother. Oh, we know Matt loves he loves his wilderness women. He loves the wild, free women that are like, I'll throat punch you and not care. Don't mess with me. He likes those types. He can't deal with I have to sit a certain way and act a certain way, and I take 9 hours to get dressed because nobody can see me without a spick of makeup on, and he, dare I say, he can't fuck with those types of women. They're just too much. All right, Leo. Yeah, it's Leo, right? Or we just did Cancer, didn't we? All right, we're gonna go with Leo. Go with Leo. I get confused sometimes. Don't mind me. I'm capable of mistakes. Woo, we got 2 cards for you, Leo. Leo's got some messages. Don't mind me. I'm always a chaotic, beautiful disaster. That's all right. There is medicine in my shadow. That is a beautiful message right there. That is deep. This is the first time I've seen this card pop up in a reading, but that is deep. There is medicine in my shadow. Like, that would make a good tattoo on somebody. This reminds me of Matt. Because Matt is one of those that, by way of his knowledge and perseverance, knows how to heal not only himself but others. Like, when he gets caught up in the rat race, he knows how to slow himself down, and he will listen. He will be like, no, I value the fact that you know of me, and things like that. That reminds me of him, even though Matt's not a Leo, I don't think, but it reminds me of you. My instincts keep me adaptable in the face of any obstacle. Are we reading for Matt today? Yeah, he's my no-nonsense brother. That's my brother. And so with this, I'm like, this is very primal. This is such a primal reading. And I'm seeing, like, with the owl and the fox and everything. And you got the mushrooms. And, and there's a lot of... This is natural energy. This is somebody who lives off the grid. Leo, and it's very descriptive of a Leo too, because their primal instincts allow them to become dominant and to survive, and they don't need to rely on other animals in their kingdom, because they understand that they can trust their community. They understand that they have instincts that persevere with them. Like, they know, like, I watched a National Geographic special on how a lion was able to literally heal old wounds. You know, they keep their wounds clean, but he was able to find like a specific tree that he rubbed up against to release whatever came out of it, sap or whatever it was, and it was able to act as an antiseptic on his wound. Like, and they were just perplexed that this lion knew to do that, and he was doing it. I guess whenever he would clean it, he would go rub against this tree, and I was like, that is just remarkable, and that's what I see right here. And then with the instincts and everything, like it's just that knowledge and relying on that deep rootedness of yourself. Like that's somebody who has a strong concept of self, um, ancestry, you know, just it's wild and free at its core, but it's wild and free with knowledge and adaptabilities. So this Leo, or the Leos that we're referring to, know when to pull away from people that aren't in their alignment. And that's what I'm seeing. To have new births, sometimes they have to walk away from things and realize when things have run its course. Yep. And so this one is just very much, you know, when something's run out of fuel, when it's no longer serving you passionately, when it's no longer, you know, providing for you in the directional that you are interested in, it's more like a hamster on a wheel cycle. You know, learn when to be like, that's what that is. I've maxed out with it. It's served me well, but it's no longer empowering of me. It's no longer adding to me. Being open to the new ideas, being open to new and freedom. And that's why it says your instincts will always be your best guide. It is your instincts is your compass. And that's going to allow you to see stronger and persevere more dominantly into the future. And that's what I see Leo wanting to do, is just being in their future component. They're like ready for it. They're ready to move onward. And that's what I'm seeing. But you got to let go of the stuff that you're possibly invested in right now. That is just, it might be a labor of love. It might be something that you're doing out of the kindness. But either way, it's like there's bigger, better out there for you. And in order for you to grow, you must, you know, remove your roots from pots that are too small. I am open and responsive to the abundance of the universe. Like these are just like mantras for you right now. So regardless of what going forward, if it's something that is hard on you, if it's something that challenges you, you know from your past that you can get through it. You know, you've been through worse. You've been through a lot. And you can get through anything that comes your way. Instinctually, you're good to go. And right now is just a good time for you to realize, like, I might be needing to move on to something that I have been giving service ship to. Oh, that fell out. I let go, I release, I am within perfect possibility. Oh, so you got a little extra message. There might be some stubborn Leos out there that need a little extra messaging. Well, hey, my pineapple. Oh, my pineapple's hungover at the moment. Oh, okay, well, I wish I was hungover. Virgo. Virgo, Virgo, Virgo. You're up, Virgos. Let's get some Virgo messages in here for your new moon and the harvest moon. I love a harvest moon. So pretty. So pretty and bountiful. Go out and make you some good harvest moon water, which also started off with the wonderful Mercury retrograde, which, why is this one hitting me harder than the last one? I don't know. But I haven't stuttered today, but I'll start stuttering because I said that. But yeah, Mercury retrograde, what in the heck? I welcome clear vision and inspired action. All right, Virgo. So you're ready to take some. You're ready to take some measures. You're ready to begin the journey. You're ready to see what, you know. You're ready. You're a sponge. You're ready to go. You know what you've done before. You know what is worked for you, what hasn't. And let's see what the tarot says about your welcoming visions and inspired actions. All right, so with the Four of Pentacles, now you're kind of securing yourself. You want security, maybe new job, new finances. Maybe it's like, okay, now is the time to create a nest egg if you haven't done that. You know, maybe it's time to refill those bank accounts if they have not been, if they've been a little depleted. I think that's what you're heading towards. Is, you know, there might be a Virgo out there that's heading into a job position of change. You got the Queen of Wands, so feeling better about yourself, being more positive, being more charismatic to yourself, taking care of yourself, making sure that best foot is always forward, because we cannot do good if we don't feel good, right? You know, making sure that you're, you know, if you feel your best getting a nice haircut, if you feel your best getting, you know, a facial done, if you feel your best, you know, with a certain type of clothing, you know, there's nothing wrong with giving yourself some stuff to make you feel good, all right? You know, and right here, you had the King of Cups and the Ace of Cups. So this is a new, right now you need to renew your emotions within yourself. You need a relationship with yourself right now. All right. You need to start feeling good about you. And with this new clear vision and inspired actions, that's what I get is going to be occurring, is a renewed sense of self-worth and emotional stability. Sometimes the Ace of Cups can mean new relationships, but because they came out together with the King, I'm getting this is going to renew you. All right. More than it is like a new physical, tangible relationship. I think that this is more internal. Hey, Jedi. And we're going to go ahead and close you off here. I will not remain stuck. I choose change. All right. So, I mean, this all really just flows together, and it's a strong message to you, Virgo, is not, if you're in a position right now where you feel stuck, you feel like you're at a plateau or anything, you don't admit defeat. Take the next steps. All right. Choose the difference. You know, it's scary always, of course. Any change can be scary, but it's always going to provide you with something. Knowledge, benefit. If you look at it in a negative, it will be a negative. If you look at it in a positive, it has no choice but to be a positive. All right. You decide. You are in that kind of control. So if you're in a position where you're like, this did me good for this period, but now it's time for me to ascend, that's where I'm seeing this particular Virgo going. Alrighty. So next we have our wonderful Libras. And Libras needs some messages too, I think. Libra season. Libra season is afoot. And Libras need their messages. I have a Libra. She's going to be 15 soon. And there is medicine in my shadow. All right. So before from a previous sign, you know, this is a really deep, profound card. What it depicts to me is everything that's within you. Everything, like, you know, every footstep you've taken, you know, to know that you've come this far, to look back, to see your shadow, to know that you can persevere, to know that you can overcome that deep, deep, profound depth of you, is an overtaker. It can't be stopped. It can't, you know, you can't take you down, because if you know how far you've come, you know that you can go as far as you want. And that's what I'm seeing from this message for Libra. It's a time for you to realize how far you've come. Instead of looking at how far you need to go, how far have you come? What hasn't taken you down instead of what can take you down, right? Wheel of Fortune. Things are getting ready to change for you. All right, new beginnings, new good luck cycles. You know, it's going to take some work, but, you know, it's stuff you're going to enjoy. Seven of Pentacles, you know, being proud of yourself. And emotional maturity. Things are going to change. Right now is a good time for you to get it together. Get the grips together here, Libra. You know, you've got You've got some amazing things coming. You know that you can get through it. If some shit's tried to damage you, try to damage your emotions, try to damage your progress, try to damage where you're at, just know that like shit can change at any point. It always can. And in this case it will. And you're gonna see. You're gonna see in a not too near future, or not too distant future, that you are, you know, you'll remember my words, in other words, Libra. You will remember my words for sure. You've worked hard on something. You've worked hard on things, whatever it is, yourself, your work, your schooling, your knowledge, your everything. Like you've put in. Failure is only learning. I move with confidence and resilience. So what was before is going to manifest into something and mature into something now that you're actually going to see. You're going to see that you didn't fail. Just that component wasn't yours. It wasn't right for you. It wasn't the time, wasn't the place. Maybe it just wasn't yours at all, because if you kept beating down that door, you would have never gotten where you needed to go. You would have just stayed where you shouldn't have been. So, you know, when we close out chapters, when things end or anything like that, just realize like those are not failures. Those are just points of where you learned. Those are points of where you figured something out. You found out about yourself. And that's what I'm seeing from that there, Libra. Alrighty. Scorpio. Scorpio, Scorpio, Scorpio. Here with the jokes. The jokes. Both are in scales. All right, Scorpio. Messages for Scorpio. Here we go. I surrender to the power of prayer and devotion. Knowing that your faith is going to be your sword and shield right now. Knowing that faith drives a lot further and harder than what we would be if we didn't have a faith. And I think everybody just kind of does have a faith, whether you're, even if you're atheist, I believe you have a faith, whether it's in yourself or in just universal law, you know, like there is a faith that drives for you. And, you know, prayer can also be meditation. It doesn't always have to be, it can just be sincere thought, things like that. Prayer is a different language for everybody. Six of Pentacles. You're feeling out of balance right now. Just, this could be a money thing. Maybe you're feeling like things are just not going forward in the ways you anticipated. You got some struggles going on there, Scorpio. But you know what? Don't chase pipe dreams right now. Okay? Don't chase. I've seen people do things like poor time investments, poor management of self ideologies. All right. Point example here. A lot of people will be on YouTube and they want to get to this goal of what is called monetization, which is where YouTube finally pays you to put out some videos and some content and stuff like that. It gives you a few perks. And people are like, oh my God, I got to get to that. I got to get to that. And they'll invest so much of their time and their money. You know, they're going to go to locations. They're going to buy equipment. They're going to do all this stuff. And they're going to invest. Come on, let's be real. What is a starting investment to YouTube for somebody? It's at least a couple $100 in a camera. You know, at least a camera or a phone or whatever. And then it's gas getting places. So usually to start off, it's a couple $100, right? And that's for bare bones minimum, right? There are some people that are like, well, I got to get this camera. It's $10,000 or $5,000 or, you know, $500. You know, I got to get this gimbal so I can stabilize it for another $100. You know, and then I got to go to this location, you know, which is 5 hours away. So I got to get a hotel and gas and food. And they're doing this like every weekend. And they're running and chasing. I'm chasing the dream. I'm grinding, right? Okay. No. You're banking on prayer is what you're doing. All right. You know, you're hoping that what you do, because you see a little bit of movement, you see some subscriber change, into business will end up flopping their business because they're like, I'm going to spend all of my money, I'm going to invest in this business, and they don't know how to run business. So they price their stuff wrong, they time manage it appropriately, and they're like, they're enjoying seeing like I've made $50 here, I've made $100 here, but it's they're not necessarily finding, you know, they're not necessarily making real money, yet they've invested real money. So I'm kind of just, okay, so is the sound being shitty? Is that what I'm understanding? How's that? Is it YouTube being a dick again? It might be my stupid internet too. How's that? Is it any better? Still doing, oh, how annoying. It has to be YouTube. I did say something. Is it working any better? I'm being relayed through Mickey's trends. Probably. It's YouTube. Ugh. What a pain. I hate, like, it's done this to me. Is it better? Okay. I probably just had to wait a few minutes until it like realigned. It's still happening? It's not as bad. Okay. Hopefully it's better. It's better now? Okay. So, back to where we were, wherever that was. Scorpio. Okay, so when we overly invest in a poor return, bad business, it happens to even the best of us. Again? This is lame sauce. Hate you, YouTube. Hate you so bad sometimes. I do, but I thought it was working just fine. Hang on. I'm going to try something else and you guys tell me if this works. Any better? How's that? Is that any better? Because if that's not any better, that's a lot. Okay. What the hell is your problem, microphone? Okay. Well, we're just going to have to figure out what the hell is wrong with Mr. Fat Yeti over here. Uh-oh. There we go. Okay. So, when dealing with poor investments, which is what can also be a source of frustration, and sometimes it will make us surrender to a hope and a prayer. All right, it will make us sit there and be like, I'm doing this hoping that I'll get the return that I'm seeking. But when we invest poorly, because we're going after passion projects, or we're going after things that cost, they have a monetary cost, but we are not necessarily calculating that correctly into it's becoming more of an outgoing expense than an income driven benefit. And that's what I'm seeing right here. I'm so fabulous. The sound of it. I wish, but the sound's important right here. So that's what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio, is right now you're just hoping things get better. And I'm going to tell you right now, if you keep doing the same things, better isn't going to come. Okay? Because what's the definition of insanity? Doing the same shit, expecting a different outcome. And that's what I'm seeing here, is doing the same thing. You're basically doing the same thing over and over again, and nothing's changing. If we're overspending on materials and we're not getting a gain back, we're not price pointing ourselves correctly, and you're like, well, nobody will buy my shit if I price it this high, which would give me the proper gain, then maybe that's not the field for you. Maybe it's hobby, but it's not lucrative. Or maybe you're just not extending your reach properly, you know, whereas advertisement is concerned, because a lot of ways advertisement can be free. You know, you just have to be able to market yourself correctly. But if you're not doing that, and it just keeps happening and nothing's changing, find a different avenue. All right, find something else. You know, keep it in mind, but find a different way of doing it. And audio is on the through the fan wah 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 sound. Okay, well, I'm sorry. I'm doing the best. But that's what I'm seeing for you, Scorpio, is, you know, if money woes are an issue right now, finances, anything like that, just stability in general, if that's an issue right now, prayer is a good thing. Prayer is a manifestation tool. But instead of just praying for it and hoping for it, you got to start believing it, seeing it, doing it, acting it. All right. If I've seen people that say, hey, I'm a millionaire, and they act like one, and they, you know, follow it, and they've seen an increase in their revenues and stuff like that. They just start changing focus. I mean, I'm not saying they're becoming millionaires overnight, but they are seeing what the change that millionaires gain in, you know. And I always tell people, everybody wants to be a millionaire until they find out what a millionaire has to do, and then they don't want to be millionaires anymore. So that's just, you know, an example, though, is like when you start changing the patterns and changing the process, the mindset, the attitude, everything, things fall into place. Don't chase somebody else's dream, though. If you chase somebody else's dream, you're going to end up with their nightmares too. Okay? And you're not ready for those. All right. So I explore my wildness and dance in pleasure. Enjoy what the hell you're doing. Otherwise, why are you doing it? If it's going to create stress and strain, don't let it cost you your pleasure. All right. So if you're like, okay, taking these trips and doing this stuff and buying equipment and all that, it's draining to me because I have to pay for it and I don't have the means to pay for it. Okay. So maybe we do less of that and we start doing what the core message is. Maybe we just start doing, you know, things from home with the items we have. I remember my first tripod was a freaking cup. All right, y'all remember your first tripod? Remember the first time you tried to go live with something? It was similar to this. And I sat my phone on the top of it and had it overlooking the cards. And you can see them if you go back and you look at my very first card reviews that are on my channel. Those ones were some of the first card deck reviews I did. And they are my phone sitting on top of a cup, a really tall cup, with something on top of it so it didn't fall over. That was my first tripod because I was broke and I could barely like afford to feed me and my kids. So I was just trying to do content to get out of my head. I had the tarot decks already. And so I was just like, you know what? I'm going to do some reviews. And I did them. I put them out. And I won't get rid of them because I won't get rid of those videos even though they're like, oh gosh, they're bad. But they're bad in the best ways. Just like, remember, you know, my shadow is my best medicine. My shadow shows me how far I've come because if I look behind me, I can see that I have a shadow, you know, that I've casted, you know, light's casted upon me now. You know, I'm doing what I need to do. And, you know, those first videos, they take us back and they're good for us. They're good for us to sit back and look at. You know, they're good for us to acknowledge and present ourselves with because they're our journey, just like everything else is, just like your pictures from when you were a kid, your, you know, report cards from when you were a kid. You know why your parents keep all that shit? Because, you know, it shows where you've come from. And that's what I see from that there, Scorpio. So prayer is good. Prayer is great. It really is. Meditation, all of it. But don't sit there and expect that, you know, the person in power, the God of your choosing, is going to sit there and fix everything for you without, you putting in the work. Because he don't do a whole lot of that. Because if it was that easy, wouldn't we all just get on our knees, pray, and be like, yeah, I have everything I need? Alrighty. Sagittarius. Our wonderful Sag gang. Let's get some messages for the Saggies out there because they need their messages too. And the messages have been pretty profound today. Not too many light-hearted messages. Some real good. And that's what I like about the moon readings. They're usually pretty deep. And they usually have growth inspired with them. And I like that because my whole thing is just like becoming better than what you were yesterday and being ready for the growth you'll experience tomorrow. So, Saggy messages for Sagittarius. There we go. And you ended up with 2 cards today. And you also have I surrender to the power of prayer and devotion with my inner compass knows the way. So where I see this one no longer being something of being a surrendering type energy necessarily, this one is going, okay, I know better. And I know that I know better than what I'm doing because my inner compass knows better. That's where I'm seeing this one versus the Scorpio reading. And cards, when they lay together, they can have completely different meanings based on the surrounding cards. And I think we all know that. You've been a part of my readings before. You guys all know, like, one moment one sign gets that card and it means this, and then they're like, oh, it means this now. Yeah, well, the other cards kind of denoted where it was going with it. Alrighty. Let's see. Let's get some clarity. Got the Hangman in the reverse, so movement. You're making some type of movement where you were kind of like, I don't know, I have hesitation. I think now you're going ahead with that movement. And you've been working on something. What have we been working on? Alrighty. You're trying to free yourself from that more narcissistic, controlling, needing energy. I think you're trying to get yourself out of there. There's probably a Saggy out there that's trying to get themselves out of a bad situation, whether it's a relationship with something that is trying to control of you in a very nasty way, narcissism, things like that. But there's also somebody, there could be Saggies out there that are like, you know what, I'm at a job where, they're making me do stuff that I don't want to do. It's unethical. That's what that magician in reverse energy is. Because when the magician's in his upright, he's in control. See, he's got all of his elements right there. He's really in control. When he's in the reverse, he's still trying to be in control. He's like willing to do whatever it takes to maintain control over the situation, person, place, thing, whatever. So what I'm seeing here is you freeing yourself from something that held you back and held you down and made you feel that you needed to stay there, that you couldn't get out of there, that, whether it was fear, whether it usually is based in fear, when we don't make movements that we know we should be making. And that's what I'm getting from this is, you should be making it. Because that whatever you choose, you're better off than where you were, but you also know that you're resilient and you'll find your way as you always have. Even if this situation presented you like amazing things like, more money, more opportunities, car, home, whatever, wouldn't you rather live in a shack and be happy and not live in fear than live in a mansion and have to sleep with one eye open, or, wondering if, something is going to rob you of what you have, rob you of yourself, I'd rather sleep in the shack. I seek balance and grounding. Yeah, you're ready to become more you again. You're ready to obtain what is meant for you versus you giving yourself to something superficial and disgusting. The survival kit challenge, that's right. Survival and tea. I also have the all signs reading tonight, don't I? So that's what I'm seeing right here for you, Saggy. Which is really good messages. So if there was a Saggy that was trying to get out of something that they didn't know if they could get out of it, that might be their message that they can. Alrighty. So Capricorn. Capricorn. Messages for Capricorn. Let us see what the messages are for our wonderful Capricorns today. Ooh, we flew right on out. I am on the right path and divinely guided. Well, I mean, do we even need to elaborate on that? I think that one speaks loud and clear for itself. And that just seems like the core essence of, a Capricorn to me. They kind of always know, that they're on the right path and they've got what they need and things like that. Like, that's a Capricorn tried and true to me. Alrighty. Get a little clarity. All this earth energy and a little bit of fire. A little bit of fire. All right, whereas right now you're not seeing a lot of opportunal growth, Capricorn. You're not seeing the balance. You're out of your element, it seems like. Where you're like, oh, I don't know what direction to give my time and energy to. I just feel, there's no anticipation of what to look forward to. I don't see anything going directively. Like, that's the ego and that is the mental process right now. But I think in your soul, you need to just let go and free yourself and realize that you are definitely divinely guided and you are on the right path. Like, this is a message loud and clear for you. Go ahead and give this one a closing message. I am honest with myself and others. All right. If you have not yet become honest with yourself and others, that is something you need to do. But if you are being honest, sometimes our words come out a little cross. Capricorns are very grounded, direct energy. So sometimes our words may seem harsh, but that's the way a Capricorn vocalizes and manifests. It's usually not very gentle, even though they don't mean to be harmful, but it's not the most gentlest verbiage because it is so grounded and rooted in earth energy. It's just the literal. All right. You can almost get them confused with being rude or obtrusive or abrasive, but it's really not that type of energy. It's that, I'm going to tell you what you need to hear versus what you want to hear. That type of thing. Kind of how I work. Well, what do you know? I am a Capricorn. So there you go, Cappy. All right. Aquarius. Flew out right away. I unleashed my wildness and I choose to be free. Alrighty. So this could be at a time where, things have been trying to hold you back, Aquarius. Things have been trying to be restricting on you. And you're like, nope. I'm going to make the choice of what's good for me, what's right for me. And I'm not going to let that stuff control me, my thoughts, my actions, or otherwise. Because why should it? Let's see where this is coming from. Alrighty. Things controlling your soul bonds, your passions. I think you're getting back into those things where they used to be unbalanced. You're like, you know what? I need to pay attention to what needs balance in my life. This could be marriage. You could be letting go of a marriage. You could be letting go of a partner. That doesn't mean you don't love them. It could literally just mean that this is no longer balancing you. This is no longer an equal give and take. This is no longer something that is in your directional path. You know, because you have the Lovers, the Two of Pentacles in reverse, and the Hierophant, or the Two of Pentacles in reverse, the Hierophant in reverse, which can all denote, you know, this could be a divorce or a separation or anything like that. But it can also mean you needing to become in line with, you know, yourself spiritually. You may not be in alignment with that spiritually, and it's what you need to be, all right? And I'm getting that that's probably the stronger message than the divorcing one, but there may be a Aquarius out there that can be going through that, and it's letting you know that that path is probably a good bet for you right now. I invite peace within myself. I ripple this outwards. So you're sending it out into the world. So you're sending out those good vibrations, and you're sending out, like, you know, that things cannot restrain you if you don't allow them to restrain you. And that's what I'm definitely seeing for you right here, Aquarius. But good luck nonetheless. You've got a strong approach. That was some strong Aquarian energy right there. And last but not least is our wonderful Pisces, our Piscean gang. Let's see what messages. Oh, look, they're all over the place. Pisces. There are Pisces out there that's just all over the place. Probably. Get one more shuffle in. Pisces. Here we go. And you also welcome clear vision and inspired action. There's a slow rumble I'm getting for a specific Pisces or a group of Pisces out there. There's been a slow rumble and you felt it. There, you know, you've got something that's hitting. And if you haven't recognized it yet, you should. Look into things. Look how things have changed. Where do you feel that your voice is heard the strongest? Where do you feel that your actions are providing the most? Because that is a directional pull that you're in right now. And I hear that rumble of change and good things coming, force, action. All right, so if there is a Pisces out there that is like, I'm looking for a new opportunity, perhaps new job, new money, and you've been feeling quite a bit blocked off from that, like there hasn't been a lot of change with that. If there is somebody that is looking towards inheritance, it's slow, it's locked up right now, and that just came to me. If there's somebody that's looking for something that was coming through from a lost family member, but you are also in a point of like, why am I giving energy to something? I'll worry about that bridge when I cross it, is what I'm hearing. Like, I'm not going to worry about things that don't present themselves properly. This is a Pisces right now. I'm getting the energy of, I'm not wasting any more fucking time. You're not getting anything else out of me, whether it's people, places, things. You know, you're like, I'm all about figuring out me. I'm all about making the decisions I need to make for me. And that is a good placement for you right now, because in order to look outward, you need to start where? Inward. And that's where I'm seeing you. You're at that point where you're like, I'm looking in order to produce out. And that's where that inspired action's coming from. That's where all of that's coming from, which is good. And I accept renewal and delight in fresh starts. All right. So there is going to be something that's coming in and you're manifesting that, whatever that is. But there is, like I said, there's a slow rumble of things that are coming. Good things are approaching. It may not be in the way you anticipated, or may not be in the initial direction you went in. But like I said, check back. Look at how something has changed. Look at where your voice is heard, where your actions are producing. And that might be the direction that you needed to go in. Alrighty, well, that is all 12 signs of the zodiac for this beautiful harvest moon reading. And I want to thank you all for joining me. As always, I apologize for the sound issue, but it happens sometimes. And we are always here for any type of readings that you might. You can always reach out to me in the description box below, has all the details for that. Every Sunday evening at 7:30 Pacific time, 10:30 Eastern time, I do a live all signs reading, just a general energy check for the week for each individual sign. And there's a live chat. Usually there's a lot more people in that chat, and we usually just all hang out, laugh. Those can, those messages can be a lot more lighthearted, but they're always raw and real. So if that's something that you're interested in, then go ahead and check us out. Then I'm going to be uploading a couple more deck reviews, and then I will have the individual readings coming up, probably starting tonight or tomorrow. And I think I'm just going to do those as a live stream for each individual reading instead of like filming it and then uploading it, because that's been like a drain on me. Because then I have to like edit and add, and you know me, the perfectionist, right? But once again, thank you guys so much. It was great having you. Thank you for allowing me to read for you. And until next time, I will see you sometime between now and forever, and stay blessed.